Hello, I'm just gonna go step by step on how to do this fight as a healer. This is also has a lot of information that's gonna be good for ranged. Also, there's gonna be some melee tank stuff, but really this is focused on how to do Shiva Savage as a healer, or to some extent as a ranged. I'm just gonna start this off and go step by step. I'm gonna try and pause the video just to better explain some stuff. There's not too much in the beginning. You don't really have to heal at all. Just get your setup for DPS. Get your cards out if you're an Astro. For this absolute zero, you really don't need a lot of mitigation. We have shields from the pre-pull. That's all we really needed. And then stars heal us all up. And we're going to be going into driving or biting. If it's driving, you're going to go forward, and if it's biting, you're going to go back. The two green mirrors are on west and north here. So if it was driving, you would be going between the two green mirrors and to the north, so right where my Malefic cast bar is. If it's biting, and it is biting in this case, you'll go back. So here's the red mirror. Biting, we're going to go towards the red mirror, but to the back. My slide cast, or well, I start stop cast. When she comes over here, just make sure you're doing your OGCDs in between moving. Put your dot up, get your shields up. I like to get all my OGCD shields out of the way in my horoscope, and then I get shields ready because we're going back to the middle. So you're just casting Diamond Frost. We're gonna have a Dispel right after Diamond Frost. We're also going to have to set up some shields so that people don't die, and we're going to have to set up our Earthly Star to explode later. We move over here, I horoscope to top people up here, and Asuna the top debuff. The other healer Asuna is the bottom debuff. Healers, always prioritize yourself first, let the other healer get the tank. If no healer has it, it's top and bottom. You don't have to think about it too much. But orange circle healer goes under the 4 marker. And then you can see how this AoE, the first spawn was north and south, so you know that you're going to have to position yourself north or south. There's another way to tell this, and it's that you can tell the last spawns. The last spawns are east and west, so if you forget to look at what was first, you can look at what was last. If the last spawns are where you do not want to be, you want to be at the first spawns, so you can think of it either way. Yep, you position. Make sure you get shields here. The timing is very tight. You don't want to get knocked back here while you're casting your shield AoE. People will die because they won't have shields. So healers, you'll never have orange circles, so you run up. I have the slow debuff. This is the worst timeline. I'm trying to Malefic in between moves, or move between Malefics, but Earthly Star pops, pop light speed, and then healers. At your earliest convenience, you can move to the back. It's convenient for Astro here because you can light speed, so you can move as much as you want. There's a tank buster here. If you're using a Dark Knight, just make sure your white mage is ready to Benny. You don't have to do anything to them if your white mage is Bennying. But you do want to get something on your other tank, the one that's tanking currently, after the tank buster. So I use OGCDs there. For the look away here, that's what's next for us. Just make sure that you look away in a way that you don't lose as much uptime, and you can look back as soon as this little flash happens. I just want you to see the flash. So we look away, this flash. As soon as that flash goes out, you can start looking forward to DPS again. Then we have Scythe Kick or Axe Kick. One of these kicks is much larger than the other one, and it's going to be Scythe Kick. So depending on boss positioning, you can be at this second star here. I've had some groups where I had to stand where Boomy here, the white mage, I had to stand that far back because Scythe Kick killed us, because the boss was not as far back as I was used to. So just be ready. See, I moved back because I'm a little scared. Alright, so here I pop OGCDs to get prepared for the next AoE. I pop Neutral Sect because it's going to be either Neutral Sect or Horoscope for Astro next. Hit Horoscope if it was Axe Kick because all the melee are back here anyways. I hit Neutral Sect first if it's Scythe Kick because all the melee are up front. And I move forward and I hit Horoscope. The next divination goes out here. OGCD shield as well. So now it's time for Lights Rampart. Just make sure you're using as many OGCD heals as you can. So I've got Chains, which is the easiest job ever. Make your way to the 4 and cycle through your OGCDs. There's a ton of them as Astro at this part. They all want to come off cooldown now. We're doing Ilia because this was a pug and you do pug strats. So just make sure that the orbs run behind. You don't move doing chains at all. And as soon as this tower falls, you can move. So it's gone, you can move right away into this pizza slice. Very small movement. And then 3's in. I have Earthly Star set there, they explode there. That tower's not going to kill you. I don't think I've ever seen it kill anyone who didn't get any healing there. But I like Earthly Star just because we need to top people up. So the last kick we had was Scythe Kick, so this means this is Axe Kick. So we're going to, I position myself all the way in the back. It doesn't matter where, because for Axe Kick first, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're out. And then I hit Light Speed to come in, Malefic, I put shields on everyone right here, and then we separate because we all have the circles under us. There's a couple of different ways to look at this mechanic. So currently, while we're out here, she has a halo that has 4 orbs cycling around it. You cannot see it on my screen at all. Okay, now you can. You see how there's orbs cycling around this halo? There's 4 of them right now. There's either going to be 4 or 1. So if it's 1, then these stack markers you have to stack with your corner marker. So normally I just go to the 3 marker, that's my position. But since there's 4, I, as a healer, I'm going to rotate south. The healer on 4 is going to rotate to west, the tank on 1 is going to rotate north, and the tank on 2 is going to rotate to the east side. The DPS are always going to be on their intercardinal positions. And because I have light speed up, I don't lose DPS here. It's pretty nice timing. Right. The only person who needs healing right here is the main tank. If you don't heal him, he'll die. But OGCDs are enough as Astro, just Essential Dignity, and whatever that celestial thing is. I forget what it's called. I try to do shielding here. I shield everyone with regular shields. I shield them with my OGCD shield as well, but I did it too early. One of them will drop off, so I should be shielding right now while I'm cycling through cards. I just did it too early. But you can hit everyone with all 3 shields as Astro. I imagine you can do the same thing with the Scholar Fairy, but... Alright, so this is East Side ads. It's a little different from West Side's ads, but for healers it's pretty much the same. You can just set up Horoscope, set up your heals, set up your Earthly Star, and then throughout your last card, completing your seals. Then I end up using Sleeve Draw here while I take the first tether. I try and help DPS on the Aqueous on East Side. It needs a lot of help. And then my OGCD heals here, and then I'll reapply a shield again. But always trying to use my Lord and Lady cards here, because we had Sleeve Draw. Very important and very, very helpful. Do not use Divination here. Don't do it. It's a trap. Even if you feel like you need it, don't ever use it here. You need to be able to do this with just your Sleeve Draw cards. Okay, just make sure you're OGCD healing and doing your AoE healing. Only in emergencies do I use Aspected Benefit. Alright, and so here, this is the last wave, the final wave. See how everyone's low, except for Red. He's taking the final tether as melee here. Who's ever taking the final tether, east or west side, they're the only person that needs any type of healing or shielding. So if you're a white mage, make sure they're topped up. If you're an Astro, make sure they have a shield. But other than that, you can just DPS here on the last wave. See, Red took that, he took almost no damage, and ads are complete. It's going to take your DPS a while to get this ad phase right. In this pug, we were in this pug all day. We were getting nowhere near clearing those ads when we started, and by the end we were doing it perfectly. It was really nice. So people just got to get used to the ad phase, know when to hit what stuff. They just have to do this phase a lot before they really click and understand how to kill the ad phase. If you have a death there right before that phase, right before the ads, you probably won't kill the ads in time, which is a shame. But you really do need that DPS buff to clear the fight. Alright, let's skip this cutscene. Alright, so I hold off on Divination right away because Trick Attack is in 4 GCDs, and I'm going to Divination with Trick Attack, and the Dancer buff is going to come out right after because she has a lot of GCDs to go through. So when we also potion at the very start of this fight, or phase, I'm sorry, start of this phase. So we have all the buffs here, including the damage buff from ads. So I also want to go over this Ockmorn because it's very weak Ockmorn, very, very weak. So you split into your sides. The people who are on the left go to the 4, the people who are on the right go on the 3 coming out of ad phase, and those are your sides for the rest of the fight. I put down Earthly Star. Earthly Star is the only healing you need for these Ockmorns. Otherwise you can just DPS, look at that, 1, 2, 3, and then Earthly Star. Next is a tank buster. You can OGCD heal the tank up from that, they're going to cool down. And this is also where your first LB3 is going to be. You're going to want this DPS LB3 here for the DPS check. We have our ninja do it. If you're not using a melee, good luck, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I'm sure it's possible. So next is the Hallowed Wings part of phase 2. We're going to check the mirror on the left, it's red. That means that the movement for the next mechanic is counterclockwise. If it was blue, it would mean that the movement for the next mechanic is clockwise. So we're going to just DPS. I'm going to hit light speed when she turns around so that we can do the next mechanic without losing DPS. Alright, so because this mirror on the left is red, I know that the mirror on this right area is blue. So the trick to the next mechanic is that blue wing to blue mirror means that you get behind her. If the blue wing is on the red mirror, you get in front of her. That's the trick. So we're going to get behind her. And for knowing if you're on, so we know we're behind her, do we know if we're on 2 or do we know if we're on 1? Well, you always get away from the side she's hitting, so don't ever question it. Remember, we're going counterclockwise because this mirror on the west was red. So it's 1, and then 4, and then 3. There is a trick to knowing whether you can move 1 space ahead, but it's something like if she's looking north and you're moving north or something like that where you can do it. I don't know exactly, I just play it safe because the benefit from that is not impactful enough for me to really care about it. But then I start my OGCD shields because the next is going to be a big AoE for Wyrm's Lament. And I put Earthly Star down as well because we're going to blow that up right after the AoE. And then it's time to sleeve draw and cycle through DPS buffs. Get your seals and make sure you're throwing out Lords and Ladies to everyone who needs it. Red debuffs are out, so we're about to blow up the Earthly Star. Blue debuffs are out. I got the 13 here, so I'm going to be first. It's very low timer, means I'm going first. If my debuff if your debuff gets to about this timer and you're not first, that means you're going to be soaking the Dragon Head soon. So we're healing up, and I'm cycling through cards while I'm running away. Get hit by the head, and then I just run back in. So the first blue debuff runs out to pick up the puddle. You can see he's right here, and the white mage is going out to soak their head because they're the second red debuff. And you can move early. So do you see how? Here, I want to show you that again. So the blue wing is cycling. So she started her flash animation. As soon as she did that, the side is not blue yet, but that white mage is sprinting out. And he is completely safe to do that. Sorry, I had to cough. Yep, and he's coming back, and you have to really sprint so that you don't get hit by this blue AoE. Alright, now the second blue puddle person is moving out, and the third red red debuffed person is moving out. So you see Nem with the triangle, he's 3rd red. You see our dancer here is the 2nd blue. And the red pops, the blue pops, and then the blue wing is now going to be on the other side. And because that head was popped on the left side of the room, that means that the 3rd blue person can go and get it as soon as they want, which is really helpful if they're melee, so they can go at the earliest convenience rather than at a bad time. 4th red head popped. They're going to come back in. This AoE on the right side of the room is going to go off, and then the last puddle is going to be picked up. Since I was not the last blue puddle, well, I'm a red puddle here every time, but DPS could be blue. If you're not the last puddle here, then you can position for the ice now. The best place is on this 4-3 marker, right on this line, or right on this line. That is the absolute best place for everyone that's a DPS or a healer. Don't be standing behind the boss, don't be standing to the side of the boss, stand on these intercardinal lines. As you can see that we're doing for the most part. Okay, so ice goes next, and don't move at all. And now she's casting Twin Silence. Silence means front, so we're gonna sidestep right here. If it was Stillness, you would sidestep here to the right. If it's Silence, you sidestep to the left. From the 4 marker. I just want to clarify that. If you're on the 3 marker, it's opposite. You just gotta use your brain a little bit. Okay, so ice is gone. She's not done casting Silence. We need to move left immediately. See, and it's just that tiny step. Alright, animation is out. This is currently under attack. This is under attack, and look at the white mage. You can move in so early. And you have to if you're not going to get hit by the other one. You have to move in early. Alright, this is time. Dancer buff is up. We're throwing out a divination in just a second. And trick attack is also going up. So we're going to attack really hard here. Now for this next mechanic, we're going to all stack south, and we're going to look at Shiva. And when her wings pop up, we're going to run through the boss. This is also the best time to hit light speed, so you don't lose DPS as Astro. So while these AoEs are going off, these Akmorns, everyone's here. We got Tenchi Jin going off. This is when you're going to start prepping for the next big AoE. So I start hitting all my OGCD shields. I hit my neutral sect, my horoscope, and I try and get a light speed aspect at Helios, but it doesn't work out this time. Sometimes it does. So aspected Helios, and I want to show you an easy way to remember where to stand for this. So we're using true north facing for this next mechanic. Everyone's going to have to get behind the boss, and you're either on left side or right side, west side, or east side, depending on whether you're doing a relative or a true north strat. We did true north, so because I am on east side for almost every mechanic in this fight, I am between the 2 and 3 markers for almost everything. My corner was 3, my ad side was 3 and 2, and the same thing is going to hold true for this next mechanic. I'm going to be on 3 and 2 side whether she jumps to the north or whether she jumps to the south. And if you're on west side, it's the same thing. You're going to be on 1 and 4 whether she jumps to the south or the north. That is how we remember where to go for a true north strat without getting confused, because sometimes you run over there and you're trying to think relatively when you're doing a true north strat and you get confused. So just, if you're struggling with that, just remember to be on the same side as your markers for almost everything in this fight. So as Astro, I set up horoscope already. While I'm running over here, I put down Earthly Star, and I think this is going to be really important because this is actually the only healing you need if you're playing Astro, is a horoscope and an Earthly Star. The white mage is probably going to Flighter's Rapture or Ass Size here as well, but it's just a lot of overhealing. So I just want to back this up one little bit while we do this mechanic. So we're running behind the boss. The tank is going to be on your left if you're on left. The tank is going to be on your right if you're on right. I know some strats tell one of the tanks to be in the middle. That's unnecessary. So I'm on my 2-3 side, where my group is right here. The other west group is right here, and the tanks are on the outside. the boss is casting Hallowed Wings here. Do not hit your knockback prevention, because you're going to need to hit knockback prevention. Do not hit it during the boss's cast, as you can see. So she casted her Hallowed. We're all safe behind the boss, right? Now the two frozen mirrors are casting reflected Hallowed. You can see that this one is faster than the other one. That's not always the case. Sometimes the bottom mirror is faster than the top one. You just have to go off of the fastest mirror. When the fastest mirror here gets to the double L, that's when you hit your knockback. I know my positioning of my boss frames is pretty terrible, but I stop casting here. It is better to lose the global here than to fuck this mechanic up. So here's my sure cast right down here. You can see that it goes on cooldown right at the time it's hitting the A and the double L. That's exactly when you need to hit it. Don't mess this up. And then the first AoE goes out, and I'm going to hit Horoscope. That's going to take care of this very weak AoE. That's all that's needed. And you can see that one of the tanks is going to move into A. The way this works is that the green mirror tank, I believe, moves into A. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like the red mirror one stays out. But only one tank needs to ever move into the middle. So your knockback prevention should still be active for this next AoE, and the only healing here that's really needed is Earthly Star. I actually should have told my white mage that he didn't need to Medica there. He probably would have loved that. Alright, so that's how you successfully do that mechanic. Only one tank needs to move, and everyone just needs to hit their knockback at the right time. Next, you pull the boss to an inner cardinal. The reason for this is because on the next mechanic, you need to pull her to a blue mirror, and it can spawn at east or west or north or south or inner cardinals. Well, actually, it can't be inner cardinals, I think, but it could be pretty much anywhere. So in order to have less movement, you move her to an inner cardinal so that it spawns at D, you go to D. If it spawns here at A or whatever marker we were just at, you can go back to that and it's not a problem. And there is some tank healing I try to get through OGCDs here. So blue mirror spawned to A. So what we do is we drag her back towards A, towards the blue mirror. You need to look away towards the green mirror here, because there's going to be a couple mechanics that happen at the same time, so it can get a little confusing. When she starts going gold, you look away towards the green mirror, or see how these guys are going to be looking out this way. That's what you want to do. Don't greet it. Getting stunned is way worse than losing the global to look away. Way, way worse. Okay. So there's the AoE. Now you need to go to where the blue mirror was, pretty much, and look out. That's what you have to do next. That never changes. You will always go here and look out for the next look away. Now at the same time, she's going to get a halo. So this halo is going to have either 1 orb again or 4 orbs. So if it has the 4 orbs, that means you're going to have to run into the middle of the room, because the AoEs that are about to happen are, the center AoE is fake. So you'll see that there's this purple line that is shooting out from the center of the room. These 4 orbs mean that's fake. So at the end of this cast, it's going to shoot AoEs at the edge of the circle, which we cannot be on. If there was 1 orb, this purple circle would just stay the way it is. So how do you handle this? If this purple circle, if there's 1 orb, I guess is how I should say. If there's 1 orb, you stay here. You don't move from this position. But since it's fake, the look aways just happened, right? So you're gonna be looking away for that, and then you're seeing these dodges come up, then you're gonna run to the center. As soon as you dodge that mechanic, you run to the center for the fake. And here there's gonna be a big AoE, so whether it was true or fake, you're gonna get hit by an AoE here. So as the healer, I'm shielding and I'm prepping, but I'm making sure that I'm looking away north or south, because if I'm not looking north or south, I'm gonna get stunned here and die to another AoE. So I hit my shield, I hit my celestial opposition, and I'm looking north. And now the next mechanic is the kicks. So whether you're next to the boss right now or in the center of the room, you're gonna get kicks. I run away because ranged can outrange every single kick no matter what. So if we're in the center of the room, you may as well go out further while you're already out here. Now for us, the first kick is Spiteful. So Spiteful is everyone needs to get away. I remember that because nobody wants to be near spiteful people, so everyone needs to leave. And the second circle is always the one you didn't get the first time, so it's going to be either Spiteful or Embrittled or Embrittened or whatever it is, I forget. But so everyone gets away, and it's a short circle. The next circle is going to be big because the Embrittened circle is going to be much, much wider, and you need to account for that as a ranged or you're going to get hit. And we're just DPSing away here. Okay, so next mechanic, everyone needs to move south. The boss needs to be in the center position, facing north. So everyone else is going to be between the 4 and the 3 marker here at south. And we're going to stack up tight. So this is going to be another run through mechanic. You run through her when her wings pop out the side. So it's another good light speed place for Astro. Don't lose any DPS. So now, as soon as this happens, we're going to try and prep as best we can. I don't have a lot of shield OG CDs, so we're going to hit Divination here, we're going to hit Earthly Star. I put that a little too close, but here, let me back up a little bit so you know when to move. So we're going to have to run again for this next mechanic. See how this Frozen Mirror cast time is casting Reflected or something because of the time my party frames. When this cast is completely gone, you move back to your side markers. So remember when we started phase 2, we were split into our 3 and 4 sides for Ockmorns. It's the same thing. You're going to move to, I'm going to move to my 3 side, the other group is going to move to their 4 side, but you don't move until this cast is completely gone. So as you can see, you're waiting for it, and it finished. So the cast is gone here. Now you run back to your positions. Now this AoE is a little more difficult than the first split groups. So I have a horoscope that I usually try to use. I don't think I used it at the time. But as soon as the AoEs are done, there's 4 of them, you run back to the middle and you stack for this Morn-a-Fa. This Morn-a-Fa is going to hurt a bit, so you have to have shields for it. It's very hard to survive it without shields. And then if you can get your Earthly Star to pop right after it, that's the ideal. Now, I don't heal this part because I've got pretty much nothing left, and the White Mage has Plenary and Afflatus. And we did the Stellar Explosion, so... Whew. Next mechanic is going to be Icelit Prog, and Icelit is not as scary as it sounds. You can actually mess this up pretty bad and still kill this boss. You can see that 3 of us messed up this mechanic during this kill. As Astro, there's going to be a big AoE next, so I try to get shields here on everyone. Collective Unconscious, Celestial Opposition, and I try to neutral sect shield with Aspected Helios. So, all 4 of the tanks and healers, you need to stand on this diamond, no matter who you are. All 4 of us stand on that diamond. And then this Dagonsong is going to AoE us. And the first thing you do as a healer after Dagonsong is you Asuna the DPS, or yeah, I don't think healers ever get it, I'm not 100%, but you just Asuna the non-tanks here. Our assignments was I get the top one, and the other healer gets the bottom one, and we did make sure our party frames were aligned similarly so that we never messed it up. But the tanks and healers are going to have their chains on their triangles, and as soon as I get the Asuna off, I'm going to start casting Aspected Helios to get the neutral sect shield and haunt on everyone here, because people are going to take damage. And remember, we're also going to use Horoscope here so we can heal without healing. And we don't move from these positions. The DPS are going to go to their intercardinals and do their DPS things. Their AoE blasts off and they go back to middle. We, as healers, we don't move at all. We don't move a single at all at this part. So, then you get knocked back, okay? There's a tower in middle, there's a tower on the edges. Tanks need to make sure they soak the tower in middle. One of the dangerous parts here that I fail is that you can see that, man, I don't know where the safe spot is here. These orange things actually hit me on this part. It comes through here, and it comes through here. So I think I needed to move up just a little bit, but I stood here and got hit by the frozen needles. I think you can see that here. Frigid needle, 99,366 damage down. Also our dancer, and you can barely see it on here, but the summoner also got hit by it. So we got 3 damage downs. No bueno. And the only thing I had to do to avoid that was look at where the orange circles were pointing and move up a little bit. But it's a lot of damage. Okay, so tanks just finished their mechanic. Whatever it was, they're standing in a tower. They either go close or they get away, based on the halo, but we don't need to worry about that. That's not our mechanic. There is going to be a tower here, and that tower needs to be picked up by anyone with a 2 debuff. So I have a 2, so I'm going in. If you don't have a 2 debuff, you're going to go to your clock position. Clock positions are the same position you were in for this very mechanic. You're either at your 3, your 2, your 1, or your 4 if you're a DPS. If you're a tank or healer, if you were the south tank, you're going to be south. North tank, you're going to be north. Healer, same thing for east and west. So the tower's going to resolve first, so we all just took damage, and then the people in the tower are going to go back to their clock positions. Good. See? And that's going to resolve. Now, the next mechanic is that you're going to move everyone to the A marker, the north side. You can light speed here. I used my 3rd potion here because it's a good time for me. It didn't come off cooldown when everyone else's, just as everyone else's did, so I held off. But you're gonna sit here at A, you're not gonna move at all. She does this ice and you're still not gonna move. Absolutely just standing here. Then she stops it and she does another ice, so you're gonna still stand here. She transforms here. I just wanna go over this very carefully. First ice goes away. She starts to transform. As soon as her wings pop out her back, you're gonna slide down. Slide down, the wings popped. And you're not gonna move here. You can use gap closers as soon as she gets to the middle, but do not slide. Alright, the next mechanic is gonna be Wyrm's Lament 2. So, I get my shields ready because we're gonna have some AoE times. You're gonna get back into your Akh groups that you've had this whole time. Then you're gonna be close to the hitbox. You wanna be close to that hitbox with your groups. This is gonna be real tight movement so that you don't get clipped by something. Right, so blue and red debuffs go out. Tanks always have red, healers always have blue, DPS have red and blue. So what we do here is, if there are 2 blues on the same side and 2 reds on the same side, if any side has the same color, then we have 2 designated DPS as the swappers. If you are a swapper, you know that you've been assigned to that job and that you're going to swap sides if there's ever 2 of the same color here. And that's exactly what they do, I think. I don't remember. Are they on the same side? I don't know. But we're going to get 5 Akh here. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then everyone is going to move to the middle. We're going to move in, except for the tanks. The tanks have to hit their red dragons at this part. Remember that when you're getting hit by the dragon head, it needs to move into you, not you move into it. Just to clarify on how it works. So that tank hit his. I'm this side, so I'm going to go get my puddle now, and then I'm going to run back. And after that's done, we're going to get a tank buster at the same time. So just so you know everything that's going on, you run and get your puddle, tank buster is happening, and the tank immediately eat it. So we're going to get a benediction there, I believe, or essential dignity anyways. And then we're going to get 6 Akh hits with your groups. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's a tank swap during Mornafa, I believe, at some point. I'm not 100% sure on the tanks on when they swap or who's supposed to be tanking, but I do know that if you were the first tank at the beginning of phase 2, you have to be main tank when this starts or you wipe. She hits the wrong debuff and both groups just get annihilated. So make sure that who's ever tanking needs to stay tanking as main tank here, or you wipe and then you have to get the tank swap correctly or the whole party wipes. That's just how it is. Alright, so those AoEs went off. Everyone's going to move to the center again so we don't get clipped. The red DPSs on each side are going to hit their dragons here. And then the blue DPS are going to go get their puddles. And I believe there was a tank buster here, the Mornifa, so he just immunity'd this one as well. And now you're going to get Akh again, you're going to get 7 hits, and at the same time, now that the ninja's in his group, he's doing his second LB3 for the fight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm so low on MP. Look at this, I have 900 MP. So we're getting Mornifa, we're going to get together for this one big hit. Everyone soaks this one together. So you do tank immunity the first Morn, tank immunity the second Mornifa, and then everyone soaks together for the third Mornifa. Alright, so we're at a part where healing is really not needed anymore. So you focus on DPS. You're going to sit here and just DPS, try and get that mana regen. Look, I ran out of mana, I couldn't cast Malefic. How horrible is that? So you're DPSing. As Astro at this point, I am not going to get another divination in this fight, so I am throwing out all the Lord and Lady cards I can, and if I was smart, these 2 steals I have would have been Lord and Lady cards, but I didn't even think about it, I guess. So she does Mirror Mirror, which doesn't matter. When she glows blue here, you're going to get behind her. So wings are blue, she's facing south in this instance, so we're going to move right behind her. And you have to kill her before Enraged, and Enrage happens shortly after the cast ends. Yep, and we killed her just in time. And that's all there is to this fight as a healer. You can see that you can mess up. We had like 3 or 4 damage downs throughout this fight, but our DPS was really strong. If your DPS is not as strong as ours was, then you cannot afford those damage downs. Did everyone have 500 eye level weapons? No, but most of them did. I was using a relic weapon as Astro. Our Gunbreaker, I believe, was also using a relic weapon. But you do need the add phase, that damage buff. You're gonna need that to clear this fight. So don't get mad if you're not getting it every time. Just work on getting it and work on clearing the phase, and every time you see that phase again, just keep trying to get better at that add phase until you're consistently clearing add phase with the damage buff. And those LB3s, without them, we would not have cleared this. So that's everything. I just wanted to go over that fight step by step so you had something really, really strong to look at where you wouldn't have any questions for the healer role, or I was hoping you wouldn't have any questions. You probably will. There's probably something I forgot, but I tried my best. Alright, thanks guys. Later.